take the example of boom. The boom, 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 boom.
No Boundaries radio show may contain adult material and coarse language. Listener discretion is advised.
of the coolest shows on the planet. This is No Boundaries Radio, and we're glad to have you. Better wear a cup.
This is Gabrielle Faust, and you're listening to No Boundaries Radio, where all the vampires hang out late at night.
Hi there, this is the artist, Mike Bliss. I'm over here in London, and I'm here to tell you that No Boundaries Radio has gone global and is drawing listeners from all over the world.
This is Donna Stewart from Sci-Fi Radio, and you're listening to No Boundaries Radio. They're a little messed up, but they're cool.
Welcome to the No Boundaries Radio Show. Are you ready for a wild ride in radio entertainment? Let's welcome our hosts, William Maltese, author of over 200 books, and JoJo from VampireWear, creator of jewelry and clothing for the undead. Hey everybody, welcome to the No Boundaries Radio Show. And for our intro this evening, I played Vlad the Impaler, and that's by our amazing guest, Rick BooM Steele, who's here. And we're going to talk to BooM in just a minute. But first, I wanted to see what William had been up to all week and what you're drinking tonight, William.
What I've been up to all week? Well, I'm working on 2 contracted mainstream mystery books that are going into another double novel in my Spies and Lies series. I got word that my mainstream mystery romance, Matador Mi Amor, is now available on Kindle and Nook. And I went to contract in a new series of books called William Maltese Beer Tasting Diary.
Oh!
It's to supplement my William Maltese Wine Taster's Diary, which is already out there. I figure with warm weather coming, I might want to drink some beer. Although I'm not drinking beer this evening. What I'm drinking this evening in honor of our host, Rick BooM Steele, are several Kaboom cocktails. Yes, each.
So we know how this show is going to go.
What's so funny about each of which consists of 2 ounces of vanilla vodka and 8 ounces of Coca-Cola Diet Lime. You merely put the vodka in the martini shaker, you fill the shaker with the lime Coke, you shake, you pour the cocktail glass, and you serve it. And then you keep on
until you go
it through the program, and by the end, I go kaboom. I don't know what the hell's going on. Which brings me at this point to ask what's been up with you, JoJo, and what's happening at VampireWear.com.
Well, if we hear a crash and everything's quiet, we'll know we've lost you, William.
that'll be it. It's either the liquor that's done it, or you've
cut you off,
tuned me out again.
No. Cross your fingers. Everything's going smoothly.
Okay. Right.
But actually, I have a cool thing up right now on VampireWear. Orders over $50. People can get free shipping on them. So when you just put your order in the checkout, there's an area for the voucher code. You just put in free ship. That's ship. FREESHIP. Free ship, and hit recalculate, and you'll get the shipping taken right off your order. So, and it's for anywhere in the world, anything over $50 is free shipping right now. And I'm also really happy because VampireWear actually is a sponsor of our guest tonight, Rick BooM Steele. So I wanted to welcome Rick to the show because we got a ton of stuff to talk about. And he works in so many different areas of the music business, bands, movie soundtracks, teaching drums, and he also lives in a haunted house, and we're going to get to that shortly. So, BooM, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, guys. You can just call me BooM. It's easier. Hey, BooM.
Hey, BooM. Okay.
Hi, William. Hi, William.
Hi, BooM. And indeed, thank you for being on the show. And so, why don't you just start out and tell all of us how you got involved in drumming in the first place, and some of the
I've been playing. Absolutely, I've been playing drums since I was a little kid. My first drum student was my little brother, and I just kind of went from there and just, I guess, never stopped. And I lived in a Northern California area. I can say I was a big fish, little pond. So I came to the big pond, little fish, L.A. And when I hit LA, that's when I really took off, and I started my own TV show called Drum TV, and I sought out some of the greatest drum teachers around here, and I just used all the gifts of the music business and what drumming and music in general in Los Angeles, and I haven't stopped yet.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a start. Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to do what I love. And yeah, and I play all styles, and I teach all styles, and it's really helped my writing, because, sometimes you have to, I don't know, you might take I'm a metal guy, but you might, I studied like Latin drumming, and you can take a Latin beat and make it real heavy, and it sounds interesting and fun and works perfect with the music, and people don't know it's a Latin beat. And yeah, and when I came to LA, that's where I met my main drum teacher was out of San Francisco, was John Exapolius, and he introduced me to Roy Burns, who runs Aquarian Drum Products. And my work with Roy got my hands together and my chops. And through the TV show, that's where I met my friend Bill Ward from the band Black Sabbath. When we were doing an episode, I was working on this prickly little 5 against a 4 against a 3 against a 2 multi-limb, multi-timbre, polyrhythmic song in the TV studio. And Wardy walked in and saw me, and we started talking. And, of course, he was a guest on my show. And then from there, we collaborated on a clinic tour called Connecting the Years, where we talked about how music came from, we would both hit our crash cymbals together, and we would say that's like the one, like the Big Bang, kaboom. Mm-hmm. And we started from there, and we went down through musical history to metal, of course, and that was a multi-city tour, all of California, from like Southern California all the way up to Northern California by Oregon. It was quite fun. Anyway, and that is what inspired my first band, the music you're listening to, KVK. And it's funny because I'm glad you like that song, Joe.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a song that I guess you can call it. I had some, the term, a little creative constipation. I had been kind of out of ideas for melodies, and I had all the music written, but no lyrics, no libretti, no melody, vocal melody. And so I called Bill, and he was so kind to come over to the studio and basically write something for me on the spot. It was something I'll never forget, the way Bill works and how professional he is and his results. And all the melodies you hear in that song we just listened to at the head of the show, they're all from Bill Ward. Amazing. A lot of people don't know that he's quite the songster. He writes wonderful music, great vocalist. I've learned so much from him. And that's, knowing Bill, is how it came out to be KVK, because Bill's guitar player in his original band, the Bill Ward Band, is a cat named Keith Lynch. And I got in touch with Keith vis-a-vis Bill, and then Keith and I wrote that album, all the first KVK album that you guys are going to be playing hopefully today.
Yeah, because we're going to play a couple other songs. How did you come up with that name, Kill? So it's actually Kill Van Cole, right? Well,
Kill Van Cole, from what I got, back in the day, and I could be wrong, is that the bridge that Ichabod Crane went across on the Headless Horseman, 17th century, 18th century folklore, whatever you want to call it. I believe that bridge was referred to later as the Kill Van Cole. And I always was fascinated by that whole story about the Headless Horseman. And honestly, I just loved it. And it just, to me, it sounded like metal, and you could play around with the letters and stuff. So that's how that came about.
No, neat. And I wanted to let everybody know that the CD is actually available on your website, as well as all the information for your drum teaching. And that's, everybody listening, it's called the Footaments.com, and that's TheFootiments.com. So that's really cool. You can go there and you can get the book on the drumming. I love the videos that are on there. That's really cool. I just posted a link on Facebook earlier of one of the videos, and that's really neat. But The songs, what inspires you for a lot of the songs? Because this one was very spooky, this CD that I have.
With KVK and the whole premise, it's kind of, the album's kind of tied together, and there's the mascot is a guy named Van. He's on the cover. And, for that album, specifically for me, it was a place where I go to. Like, for example, today I'm in West L.A., and JoJo, William, it's dark, it's cold, it's overcast, and I love it. Because this is the type of weather that just inspires me to write. And the whole KVK CD, the music, comes from that darker place. It's been my experience, in my opinion, that many times, I'll just put it nicely, on the darker side of things, it's kind of like a target-rich environment for story. And I, like, for example, some of the music, there's a song called March of the Goblins, and it was it's totally Tolkien based. When I read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and the goblins that he described, and then I just put that like, well, could you imagine when you are having a bad day and the voices in your head are talking to you? They're like goblins. And so I kind of, I took that sci-fi fantasy premise and put it into a libretti, and then made melody and drumming and music all around it. And that's kind of like the premise for it. I always tell people who aren't used to metal, I say, don't listen to KVK at night. It might scare you. But I've had a couple people talk about that. One of the songs that I think you might play today is a song called Floating Figure, which is about, it's got like a dual purpose, a dual meaning, a twin libretti, if you will. It talks about, well, here you're living in this house, but yet in the house it's all about somebody in there and emotionally being bummed out. And I guess the joke is, the chorus is when ghosts tell stories, and we all know that ghosts don't tell stories. So it's one of those kind of double meanings.
Yeah, I am going to play that later, and I'm also going to play March of the Goblins, so that's really good.
Perfect. And not to mention, some of the music I had, scratched out and, recorded on keyboards and stuff. I had some ideas, and I had some theories, and then that was all inspired on that album.
Yeah.
What year did you make your move? What year did you make your move to L.A.?
Yeah, it was like the 90s, and coming out, the 90s, and then Drum TV. And I think, if I remember right, the CD came out in 97, and we created quite a stir in L.A. We did these things called heavy metal nights. Back then, like people were like, heavy metal, no one says that anymore, and we certainly did. And we had a lot of metal bands play, and it was quite successful. We had a lot of interest in the labels, and I think we got some little thing. I forgot the name of the label. I think they're gone now, but it's on there, the name of the company that we got a little deal with back in the day.
Yeah, because you seem to have accomplished an awful lot in a fairly short period of time. Although maybe
I tried.
You've obviously, put in your groundwork to get where you are today, but it seems like you've done an awful lot.
Well, I try to talk the talk and walk the walk.
Oh, I see. Boom.
Just like you, William.
Yeah, okay, boom. Yeah, okay, yeah. Look, I'm really interested in something, a project you've got called MB3, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, and then BooM.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is that? And how's it going? And
thanks for mentioning that. And that's kind of, well, I have one of the tunes is on YouTube. You can see me, but William, I think JoJo told me you are a connoisseur of this type of music, and I was actually working on a night on Witch Mountain by Magorski. I was going through it right before we did this, and basically what the premise is, William, is you talk to a lot of metal guys, and many times people will discuss about the classical composers, Bach and Beethoven and, whatever, et cetera. And some of their music is so tricky and so entertaining that if you were to put it on a guitar and put some crunch on it and some heavy drums, it would be some sick metal, which I concur. So I got, I've always been obsessed with Bach. He was a religious man, but if you listen to some of his themes and some of his intervals, in my opinion, he was not always the most happiest man. And he worked for the king and specifically the church. And anyway, and I remember the first time I heard the little fugue, and then I had to study Toccata and Fugue in D minor. And, you know, to me, it's heavy metal. So on my YouTube page, youtube.com/The Footaments, I have a version of me playing Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Bach. And it's not one of those 4/4 little babies that just stay in one tempi, and, you know, it's all like electronic. I mean, I have the dynamics. Bach is his period of music is the Baroque period, which is kind of prickly in that they have one song with many different tempo and you know, a tempo and things in 4 and 6. And I stuck really strictly to that. And it took me 3 months to figure out how to put that music in the music computer. Then another 3 months to figure out how to play to it. And it's like a smorgasbord, a buffet of drums. It's like anything goes because I get to play with the music. And that's what I've been doing. And I have a whole set of music now, William. I've got like Mozart's 25th Symphony, the first movement. If you've ever saw the movie Amadeus, that's the first piece that comes on. You got it. And that's heavy as heck. And I've got, like I said, I've always loved Nagorski. I'm a bit of a Disney fan. And I like when they always do fan.
Lose our connection.
I don't know what happened. Did you? Did you hear that?
I don't have Rick on my screen anymore.
Okay, hang on. Why don't we take our break now? And I'm going to get Rick right back here.
Drum him up.
I'll try to drum him up. Yeah.
Break.
Oh boy, that's so bizarre. Okay, we will be right back, you guys.
Looking for some erotic literature? Guaranteed to ignite your passion. Look no further than author William Maltese. With titles such as Dare to Love in Oz, Circus Sex, Godmaker Vampires of London, and Love Hurts. You can pick your favorite flavor, from mainstream romance to S&M and gay erotica. Want to get hot in the kitchen or the back of the boat? William also has a line of tasty cookbooks. Check out Back of the Boat Gourmet Cooking, and even gourmets have to diet. Go to WilliamMaltese.com and enjoy over 200 books and over 4 decades of love.
When the sun goes down, do you start to crave something dark and decadent? VampireWear has something for your immortal soul. Jewelry, accessories, and if you dare, VampireWear. Home of the Tribal Fang Necklace, complete with certificate of authenticity, except no other. Get your VampireWear at VampireWear.com. We always get what we pray for.
Hey everybody, we are back from break, and I hated cutting the song short because I just love listening to it. Boom. It's great. So I just want everybody to know, if you're just tuning in now, we're talking to Rick Boom Steele, and he's one of the best drummers in Los Angeles, and I saw a lot of articles about you, and it's amazing. So we were talking before we went to the break, though, because it was really interesting about your project, the MB3.
Yes. I was blabbing on before my call dropped. I was talking about how I always felt that classical music turned through contemporary sounds, specifically a crunchy metal guitar and heavy bass and pounding drums, can be fun. And I've got stuff. I'm actually recording this weekend. I'm recording Flight of the Bumblebee. I call it Bumble Blast. I cranked it up to 200 BPMs, and it's basically a nasty little double-stroke roll for 2 minutes, kick butt, and it's extremely shreddy. And so, I mean, it's amazing how you can make classical music and your attitude, and it's metal.
When is there going to be a CD that I can get?
Well, that's what I'm working on. William, what I think I'm going to be doing is just one-offs and MP3 vis-a-vis my website and iTunes. So it's more economical to make like one tune with a cool vid, and then you can download the song. You can get an iTunes for 99 cents rather than a whole CD. Eventually, I'll put something together, but I have a whole nice little list of stuff.
Is there some on there now?
Yeah, on the YouTube, just so you know, like I said earlier, I talk the talk and I walk the walk. You can see me do Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Da-na-na, da-na-na. I do that, but it's all metal, and I use the foot. See, that's where the tie-in is as well, because some of the notes are so difficult to play that I've got to have technique. There lies my book, the footaments, and I use footaments to work out like 30 seconds and 64ths and trills and that kind of stuff. I can play them with my double pedal.
Do you have a classical background then? Is that what you started out in? I mean, is that you?
Yeah, well,
I don't know. A lot of heavy metals, I just don't hear them talking about.
Yeah, I'm a metal guy, but I'm a metal guy. But I got to tell you, I did haunt the conservatory up north at the University of the Pacific. Professors were not always very happy with me. I would get caught noodling on the keyboard with my drumsticks, the piano, and I would get the dirty look, and I'd always be too loud. I'd walk in with Metallica shirts on just to make the professor angry, because in the world of, no disrespect, but in the world of classical music, it's my experience, most classical composer and devotees, they've only known one music, classical and maybe this other funky thing called jazz. Everything else doesn't exist. I had a good time, and I guess I picked up some stuff. It was fun, and I always made things heavy, but that's where I got my first. When you had to start playing percussion to certain pieces, and in classes where we would we're going to tear apart one of Mozart's first movements from one of his pieces and go, line by line, bar by bar, 40-piece orchestra. It was fascinating.
Well, that's fascinating. I think that whole process is fascinating. I'm looking forward. To going to your page and really going through looking for ordering a lot of your stuff. Yeah, by all means.
I'm going to put some of the links up for your YouTube because I was putting links up to the site because I didn't I didn't have the YouTube listing.
But that's coming. That'll probably be in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's called Bumble Blast, and it's Rimsky-Korsakov, Flight of the Bumblebee, and I cranked it up quite fast. Well, the song's only 2 minutes, and it's quite a huff and puffer, but it's basically, for the drummers out there, it's just basically a double-stroke roll throughout the whole thing, and it's kind of fun. It's at 200 BPMs.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Well, I'm all excited. I'm all excited.
Yeah. I know. I knew you'd like that.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah, but we wanted to ask you too because you were telling me about this. That are you living in the haunted house now, or did you?
No, my house is ghost free, and that Nadia, my kitty. I don't know if you guys. Some people believe this, some people don't. I love cats, but Nadia, my black kitty. It's been my experience that when you have cats around, they're like, they can tell if you're in a spook central, and they always kind of keep things away, and you can watch them. So where I'm at now is clean, but I did live in a haunted house, and it was my great aunt's house in Santa Monica, California. And before that time, I was not aware of cold spots, or what I used to refer to, JoJo, as diaper smells, and it was ironic because one night I was talking to Bill, and we used to get into the D word, the drum word, and we would obsess on Ludwig Speed King that Bonham would use, and we'd be talking for sometimes hours on this one little subject. And I looked up, and I could have sworn I saw my great aunt's, like her silhouette, in a window. But in this house, out of nowhere, I'd have it'd be 70 degrees in one little corner. It'd be 50 degrees. And I always joked that my great aunt did not care for the woman who I was dating at the time, because whenever she'd come over, you get like a diaper smell. All of a sudden, hey, someone needs it. It was pretty gnarly. And also the obligatory thing would move, okay, I swear. So I used to have to put my keys put the keys in the drawer and say, I'm putting my keys in the drawer. And it's funny because KVK used to rehearse there. The bass player, who I forgot to mention, a friend of mine, we call him the Cat Man, Felix Nunez. He was the bass player in a KVK, and we used to sometimes work out tunes there. And it's funny because I live next door to Tom Hayden, and for all the people in California, you guys remember who he was? And he used to get kind of pissed off at me because we'd be running 95, 100 dBs right next to him.
Yeah.
And he would knock on the door and say, "Oh, can you turn it down?" And I'd say, "Okay." I'd shut the door, and we'd just play, because he wanted to be cool, so he tolerated it anyway. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that was a haunted house. And the one story I want to tell you real quick is where I got my. I guess I was skeptical back in the day, and this is a true story. This is when I learned, okay, there's something on the other side. My grandfather had passed away, and I had come back from a gig, and it was 4 a.m, and I always wanted to, my rule was you got to beat the sun, because if the sun comes up, then I ain't sleeping. So anyway, I had a phone right next to me, and the phone rang about 5 o'clock, and it was my dad. And my dad had a tone of voice that I'd never heard. Well, he was hurting because my grandpa had passed away. So he mentioned a couple of things. At the time, I was couch surfing. I lived with my brother on his couch. My brother was obligatory and nice to let me live there, the life of a musician. Anyway, and so I talked to my dad. He told me about the funeral. And so I thought about my grandpa. And it was a spring day, not too warm. All the windows were closed. And I was in this top 40 metal band. And I used to have these things called a chime tree. I mean, you guys know what a chime tree is, chimes. We used to do some silly song, and I had to have the chimes. and the chimes were put up, and guys, there was nothing there, and I felt like some wind behind my back on my head because I was on the couch, and I thought my brother had woken up and was asking me who that was, and I looked over, nobody was there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, again, all the windows closed, early in the morning, not a peep, and all of a sudden the chimes just went, they went, bat-S. And I knew it was my grandpa. I said bye. And my point is, it wasn't evil, it wasn't spooky, it was just grandpa saying, adios, dude. And ever since then, I've had like this. I don't know if you want to call it I'll put it nicely. I've had an awareness of things, and so when I was living in my great aunt's house, I was like, okay, but I didn't know about the cold spots, and there was no ghost shows yet, and so it's amazing. So a lot of the KVK music was written there, and some of it was inspired because there were nights it was like, okay, hi Aunt Lucy, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
so it was beneficial. It was beneficial to your music, Caroline. I mean, you didn't get the impression that whoever was there didn't really appreciate what you were doing because obviously you were inspired.
Yeah, because my great aunt, before she passed, I mean, she was like, 1 + 1 was 3. She thought I was my dad and stuff, but she was a flapper and she was a dancer, and I knew she liked music. In fact, I owe it to her because her grandpa, which is my great grandpa, was a composer in Germany, and he was a kind of a known guy. And I don't know why, but he came to America, didn't speak the language, had a heck of a time, and he died as a bricklayer, very unhappy. And there's pieces of music of his out there. Schwer was his name. And one day, if I ever find his music, I'd love to play it and maybe metalize it and see if it's crunchy and, just give it a shot. But that's kind of where I come from, and that's where I call it my musical heritage, my musical gifts. But it definitely helped to be in a house where you never know what was going to happen, and it gave me plenty of energy to scratch some lyrics and make up melodies to fit the feeling.
Have you gone looking for his music, like on the internet and all the facilities that are now available to kind of track things?
I haven't. It's in the 1800s and early kind of mid-19th century, so I don't know if anything's out there. There's some folklore in my family that somebody has like maybe a half-torn piece of some of his music that was someone transcribed or original whatever from Germany in German, possibly. But about music, it doesn't matter if it's Europe or America. A note is a note. It still means the same thing.
Music is music, yeah. Universal.
You got it. Yeah. So I've thought about doing that someday, but I'm always so busy doing other stuff, drums and music and teaching. And I also do drum clinics. I'm doing a drum clinic soon I'm very proud about. So my sponsors are so nice.
Are your drum clinics one-on-one, or do you do videos and that sort of thing too to teach people drums?
Yeah,
or just kind of a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, right now I've done many drum clinics, like I said, from Bill and with myself. One of the things I like to do, William, this is my pet peeve. Personally, I don't like drum clinics where either the drummer just talks and says, "Okay, raise your hand. What do you want to know?" Honestly, I loathe those. Nor do I like it where the drummer just plays drums. There's nothing wrong with just drum beats, but after 30, 45 minutes of that, it can get a little bit old, in my opinion. So I always bring music to my drum clinics. I have been doing that after I did the stuff with Lloyd. And the point is, with these drum clinics, what it is, William, I'm just pushing my book. And what I did was, because my book, I'm proud of it, obviously, but it came from, I started something and wrote notes, and I started writing notes, and I got these chops, these footments, and then I started making drum beats. So it's all from the ground up. And then once I had that, I realized I had a book. I said, okay, I'm going to be the doubting drummer. You can do a 5-stroke roll with your feet, but I wrote music to go with it. So to answer your question, in my drum clinics that I'm pushing my book, William, I've got pieces of music. And for the drummers out there, I have songs called like doubles and diddles, and it's there's double strokes and paradiddles. It's all over, of course, detuned, angry, heavy stuff, all based on the footaments. And so the punchline is, hey, if you want to do this cool, shreddy stuff, get the book, because here it is with music.
That's very smart, because that's what a lot of university professors do, is write books and then have classes. So that was a very smart move.
Yes,
Really.
way to do it. Yeah, and I keep the price low. The book's little. It's not a monster thick thing like Moby Dick or anything, but it's it's like $10, and it goes right to it. What I did was I basically took everything I worked and I reverse engineered it and found out, okay, these are 2 critical moves that you've got to go get down. And once you get those critical moves down, you can apply them to the 3 families of rudiments. I call those footaments, William. And that's all your double strokes and your 4 families, your double strokes and your diddles, your flams and your roughs. And there it is. And what ends up happening is there's a certain class of drummers, I'm one, who can't do the old school RL on their, this is drummer talk, forgive me, on the bass drum pedals because they don't have enough chops. And so the thing is, the 200 Club is, can you play 16th notes at 200 BPMs? That kind of stuff. And it's all about technique. And for anybody who's a drummer, you guys all know about Virgil Donati, the whole heel-toe thing. That's what it's based on. But I've kind of cranked it up to the next level where now I've been hanging out at 250 BPMs.
Fascinating. It actually is.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating, and I'm not a drummer, so
yeah.
It's just got a use. So that's my thing. Are you in the 200 Club? If you can't go right left, you don't have enough fast twitch muscle fiber in your legs or chops. Maybe you can try my book with technique and get yourself to where you want to be.
Well, there's a really good quote about your book too, on your bio. Is someone had put that you're a teacher of teachers. So that must make you feel good.
Yeah, I have some drum students who actually teach themselves, because one of the things that I always tell my drum students that myself, I'm my best student, and I'm not too proud to say, I don't know. So I investigate things, and I try to figure things out. And so every once in a while I have a teacher, he'll do a one-off. So, hey, boom, I got this cat. He's coming in, and he's doing this rush thing in 7, and gosh darn it, I can't find a chart for it. I can't figure it out. And I'm always about doing tutorials. And my job is always to say, well, there's three boxes there. My job is to tell you, well, if you make a left here and make a right, you get to the right box. So that's kind of how I approach that.
Yeah. When's that the next clinic?
Well, it was scheduled for I think June, and it's been postponed. I've got to put a thing on my Facebook. I apologize to all my fans. The venue was going to do it called me up and said, "Look, we got to push it back to later in the summer." So I'm hoping August.
Oh, okay.
I want to start local and go from there. I've got a million places that I'm going to be clinicking at and looking at, but right now I just want to start something local in Santa Monica and then go from there.
Oh, okay. So you're in Santa Monica now?
Yeah, well, that's where I live.
Okay.
But I'm my studio where I'm at. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't want to play it too loud because it'll distort my hi-hat. I'm actually on my drum set right now. Like I said before, the call dropped. I was working with Night on Witch Mountain, and then I stopped and I waited for you to call me, JoJo.
Oh. So he's playing the drums right now, William.
I heard.
But don't want to distort, because I know if I crank it up and kick some dBs into this little microphone in this cell phone, it's going to distort. And as soon as I just hear, blah, blah, I won't hear anything.
Well, still sounds good.
Well,
but we want to make
so much going. Do you have anything else going? Is there anything else going? Anything else in your future?
Yeah, well, other than my drumming and my teaching, but right now my focus is on I've got some possible projects. I've got sometime I'd be doing. One of the things I always tell my students, for any musicians, you got to go with your passion. And for those who know anything about my career, before I got into the footaments and 30-round clip where I pared my drum set down, I had the Monster Kit, basically a drum set that's in a cage. One of my great sponsors, Gibraltar, they make racks, and I have a cage of drums, 12 shells and, I don't know, 5-6 snare drums, all of Terry Bozzio. Anyway, and lately, that little voice has been talking to me again. Like, you know, it's been a while. I did the whole Terry Bozzio thing, one-man drumming thing. I called it drum songs. And my little wrinkle was I learned to play the snare drum with my foot. So I could play the bass and the snare with my feet, and then do whatever I wanted on top. I could play an ostinato, a subtonic melody or whatever, and make music. It was fun. So that's what I'm thinking about, possibly bringing that back, just to get my gear out and gawk over all my drum pieces.
What you have, yeah.
Oh yes. Cage of drums. Mm-hmm. You can see some of the old pictures. Yeah, I used to slog that thing around with a KVK. I had a couple drum techs. It was quite fun. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, but we have to pass off shortly, William, to Ginger here, who's got the show The Butterfly Effect, who's on after us. But BooM, if you just want to just give out your website one more time, we got to have you back on because there's like a ton of stuff to talk about. It's so cool.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, thank you to Zelgin Cymbals, Ludwig Drums, Aquarian Drumheads, Gibraltar Racks and Pedals, TK Productions, Private Lockout to West LA. Of course, I love VampireWear. I get so many compliments on the shirt that I wear and stuff. And also, my website is www.thefootaments, one more time, T all lowercase, THEFOOTIM as in Mary, EN as in Nancy, TS.com. And JoJo, I'd love a shout out to my best friend, the love of my life. Hi, Tara. Hi, baby.
Oh. Hey, hi, Tara.
Hello, Carol.
No, he said Tara.
Oh, Tara. Well, I'm saying hello to Carol.
You said Tara, right?
Tara.
I think William's had a few too many kabooms.
I think I've got kaboom too many. What kaboom?
Tara's listening, going, "Who's Carol?"
Thank you.
We're kidding. But I'm gonna play us out. I got time to play like 2 minutes of March of the Goblins, which I wanted to get to. So we'll have to have you back on because there's just so much great stuff. And everybody, go to the website, and I'm going to post everything again on Facebook and all that fun stuff. And everybody have a great night, and we will catch you next week. And thanks so much, BooM, for being on the show.
Thanks, BooM.
Thanks, William, and thanks so much, JoJo.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care.